Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, you know when I'm energetic, you know when I'm like this, there's some big news. There's some big news. Saul Canelo Alvarez will be taking on Dmitry Bivol. This has been reported by Michael Benson and Mike Coppinger. That he will be taking on Dmitry Bivol on DAZN pay-per-view. Now, there's a lot I want to talk about. We've talked a lot about Canelo Alvarez. Look, Canelo Alvarez is going to go down the route of taking the harder option, in my opinion. He was offered Jamal Charlo and David Benavidez, but he is deciding. Guys, before I get into it, smash the like button on this video, hit the subscribe button, share the video. This is big news. Canelo Alvarez will be going down the harder option and fighting Dmitry Bivol. He was given the option of fighting Jamal Charlo, David Benavidez. He was offered £100 million, or $100 million, offer to fight those guys. But he is taking the harder option, and he is going with DAZN and Matchroom. It looks like it. And he will be taking on the Russian sensation, Dmitry Bivol. Now, Bivol is a much harder fight. Bivol is a very good fighter. We don't want to hear any excuses about Canelo ducking this, that, and the other. He is going straight to the lion's den. He is going to the lion. He is basically fighting a light heavyweight champion, a light heavyweight great fighter, a guy that a lot of people think stylistically may have his number. So you have to take out, and he's also fighting another undefeated world champion. My hat goes off to Saul Canelo Alvarez, because Saul Canelo Alvarez deserves a lot of credit. He deserves a lot of respect, and it's about time we as boxing fans, all the haters out there, put respect on this man's name. You know, I've been going back and forth with a lot of people. They saying, well, oh, Canelo's a cherry picker. He's not going to fight Charlo. He's not going to fight this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? He's gone for the baddest, the toughest fight that he could possibly have, and that's against Dmitry Bivol. When are we going to put respect on this dude's name? When are we going to put respect? Are we going to say he's ducking Charlo? Are we now going to say he's ducking Benavidez? This is unbelievable stuff from Canelo, and one that deserves a lot of respect. He will be fighting Dmitry Bivol next. And he will be fighting Dmitry Bivol next on DAZN pay-per-view. Now, guys, what do you guys make of this? What do you guys make of this? Because this isn't going to sit down well with some of the fans. Now, we thought the whole purpose of DAZN coming into the market was because of the fact that DAZN wasn't going to be a pay-per-view platform. DAZN was going to be a platform where you pay for your subscription and there was going to be no pay-per-view. Unfortunately for the American fans, they may not just have to pay for a subscription. Now, I don't know whether I'm pretty sure there'll be an option for non-DAZN subscription viewers to be able to purchase this without having a subscription, because this is going to be like a dagger to the hearts of a lot of DAZN subscribers, because they're going to think, hang on a minute, we're got subscription and we were told that we weren't going to have to pay pay-per-view, and now we're all of a sudden going to have to pay pay-per-view. So this may not sit down too well with a lot of some of the American fans, which they may feel that, you know what, we like the concept of DAZN because we don't have to pay for 90 quid for a pay-per-view. But I don't know, maybe DAZN are looking to, maximize their revenue, maximize their potential. They may think that it's not viable. It's not a viable option to keep, doing a subscription platform. Maybe they feel that pay-per-view platform is a much more, especially, I think, you know what it is? I think after seeing Canelo's success with the PBC, and this might be another reason why Canelo's gone with DAZN. We didn't factor that in. We didn't factor that into the. I didn't factor that into the negotiations. I didn't factor into the fact that, you know, DAZN would, like, I heard rumors that DAZN were going to become a pay-per-view platform, but I didn't think it was going to be now, and I didn't bring that into consideration. If that was brought in and I knew about it before, then actually I would have said that maybe there's a chance, because I thought Canelo liked the pay-per-view platform that PBC offered to him. It was a great payday. It was a big fight and a pay-per-view, and Canelo can earn more, generate more money that way. I feel like the option, I feel like the structure that DAZN had, it was good, but I feel like pay-per-views for a big star like Canelo is there for a reason. And I just think that how many signups can DAZN get for it to make sense for them to pay him pay Canelo Alvarez the money that they pay him? I just don't think that's a viable. I don't know whether that's a viable business. Whereas pay-per-view, you know, people, if you pay it for 50 quid, or just say you have a 50 quid pay-per-view, people are going to still buy because it's Canelo. And if you get a million and a half, you're looking at maybe 100 million revenue through pay-per-view. I just don't know whether through signups DAZN can generate that. So I felt like their structure probably didn't make that much sense. And the structure that PBC have with the pay-per-view makes a lot more sense. But this is, again, going to be a dagger to a lot of the fans, because the fans the reason that they like DAZN is because they were paying $20 a month and they were getting all the boxing. But now if they're going to have to pay $20 a month plus pay-per-view, it all of a sudden makes DAZN quite costly. Listen, it also depends how much the pay-per-view price is. If DAZN have a reasonable pay-per-view price for these pay-per-views, then maybe it's not too bad. But if you're paying $20 a month, right, that's $240 a month. And if, for example, they do 2 pay-per-views on top, and that's at $40, you're looking at another $80. That becomes about what, $360? Oh, no, sorry, about $320 a year. That's quite expensive for boxing, you know. And when you take in all your other costs and stuff, it's quite pricey, you know. So I don't know how well that's gonna go down with the fans. I don't know how they're gonna respond to that. I don't know how they're gonna I don't know how they're gonna, you know, take this, because like I said, I feel like they might even do that here in the UK now. I think AJ Usyk might be something that they put on DAZN pay-per-view. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest, because I think we're kind of back at square one, in the sense that the big fights we'll have to pay for. I just didn't think it made sense. I didn't know how long they could do something like this for, where they can have the big fights on DAZN. And the problem is this, that a lot of the big fights, what super fight did they manage to really get on DAZN? When we think about the biggest fight on DAZN, I don't really know what the biggest fight was. Maybe you guys can help me. There wasn't really any super fight on DAZN. When you think about it, I'm talking about, like, yeah, Canelo, Billy Joe, Canelo, Callum Smith, but is that really a super fight? I'm talking I'm talking Canelo, Golovkin. I just don't think, personally, that they could have, with the structure they have, I just don't think it would make sense. So I think they know from a business point of view, it would make a lot more sense for them to do pay-per-view, especially for a fight like Canelo and Golovkin, which they know people would buy. They know people, like, if they put that at $50 in America, people, like, over 1 million people are going to buy that. So if they, like, it doesn't make sense for them to have it $20 a month for that particular fight, charge $20 a subscription, because how many signups are they going to get extra for a Canelo Golovkin fight? That's going to make sense. Whereas if they do a pay-per-view and they do it $50, they do 2 million pay-per-view buys, you're looking at, I'm just saying, if they, for example, they do 2 million pay-per-view buys, you're looking at 100 million. You're looking at $100 million that they would have generated. So from a business sense point of view, the sign-up option and just charging a subscription probably doesn't make sense for a fight of that magnitude. Hence why I'm not surprised that they've gone down the pay-per-view route. Because, especially for Canelo, because they know that Canelo does huge pay-per-view numbers. So how much are they going to make by getting signups? So it wasn't really viable for a long term. I always saw it going down a pay-per-view route. Eddie Hearn kind of confirmed that a long time ago, where he said for the really, really big fights that it's not going to be pay-per-view. But we're kind of back to square one in the sense that that was always the case. Now, when DAZN came in, Eddie Hearn said pay-per-view was dead. And everybody was saying, well, DAZN is going to be the new thing and pay-per-view is going to die. But I think DAZN have probably realized that their structure in the real big fights isn't going to make sense, really. If they want to make huge profits, I think the pay-per-view is the way to go. So I don't know how this is going to go down with the fans, to be honest with you, because I think a lot of people found DAZN very good value for money. But now they're also doing pay-per-view as well. So I just think for the real mega fights, I just think pay-per-view is always going to be there, because I think the money, the big money that's going to be generated is through pay-per-view. These subscription options, I just don't think you can get enough signups for it to make sense, and then for you to pay the fighters especially in a super fight that they want to be paid. I think you're going to be at a loss. So I think DAZN have probably done what makes sense from a business point of view in terms of introducing pay-per-view, which is, by the way, speculation. We're going off what Michael Benson, Mike Coppin just said. But let's not forget, we've heard these interviews from Eddie Hearn. We've heard these interviews for a while that DAZN are going to come out with pay-per-view. I'm going to be interested to see how this goes down with the fans. I'm going to be interested to see what you guys make of this, especially some of you guys that live in the States. I want to know what you guys think of this. But in terms of the fight, I think Canelo Bivol is a great fight. I think Canelo Bivol is a very, very good fight, and one that, I think fans will be willing to pay for. I don't think people are going to be upset with paying for, Dmitry Bivol and Canelo Alvarez. I don't think fans will have a problem with that, because they understand how great that fight is. I think the problem that fans might have if, for example, Canelo Yildirim will be on pay-per-view, or Canelo Smith or Saunders, for example, because a lot of people may not look at those fights as really big fights. Bivol, again, Bivol's not a big star. He's not a big name, but it's still, like, that fight itself is a big fight. That fight between Canelo and Bivol is a huge fight. In terms of from a competitive standpoint, if you know your boxing and you're a hardcore boxing fan, you know that Bivol has a great chance of upsetting Canelo, and Bivol has a great chance of beating Canelo. So that makes the fight very interesting. That makes the fight a lot more exciting. And that makes the fight pay-per-view for me, because for me, what I like to see in a pay-per-view, I like two big names, which we haven't got here. We've got one big name. We got one mega name in Canelo Alvarez. I like to have a competitive fight where it's both guys can win, which we've got here. And I also like for it to be a title fight, a meaningful fight, which it is as well. So I think this fight ticks all the boxes for it to be a pay-per-view fight. It's just the fact that how's it going to go down. Listen, I don't think it's going to matter, because it's Canelo Alvarez. People are still going to buy. It doesn't matter what platform it's on. It doesn't matter where it's on. People are still going to buy Canelo Alvarez fights. Doesn't matter what networks and platform he fights on. So it can, like, if they bought PBC pay-per-view and close to 1 million people nearly bought that. So then there's going to be people that buy it on DAZN. I think, I rate Canelo. I think Canelo, for me, is one of the best in the world. I think Bivol's one of the best heavyweights out there. I think it makes for a good fight. It makes for a good fight. It makes for a good scrap, and hopefully we get a great fight. Hopefully we get two guys giving it their all, which I believe we will, and it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great fight. But I'd love to know your guys' opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think of what I've just spoken about the DAZN pay-per-view, about Canelo choosing Bivol as an opponent next. How do you guys see the fight? How do you see all of this going down? What do you think Canelo will do if he beats Bivol? What do you think will be next? How many of you think Bivol beats Canelo? Because I know there was a lot of you that actually thought that Bivol would beat Canelo. So I want to know your opinions on that. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you think, whether you think, like, I know there's a lot of people out there that think Bivol beats Canelo. They think his style is all wrong. They think he's going to be a problem. Let's see how it kicks off in terms of, where is it going to be a catch weight? Is it going to be I think he's going to fight him at 175 pounds. Is there going to be a rehydration clause? All of these things are going to be very interesting to see what actually happens. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.